Hey everyone, welcome to today's Plant Talk Tuesday. So for today, I'm going to be talking about my Alocasia tigrina. Now, this is one of my favorite alocasias ever, and I have a lot of alocasias, and this one is just a really cool one. So I have a few different ones, but I'll show you the mother plant first. This is my mother plant. Now this one is like huge. It's so hard to get in the frame. This one is like 4 to 5 feet tall. I got it when it was like half the size. It was like this tall when I got it, and I got this plant for $20 at my local nursery, which is a steal when it comes to this plant. But it has grown like crazy, and look at the leaves. The leaves are like 2 feet long. They're like huge, and they're very long and sharp looking, but very cool. And the stems you can see are zebra-ish printed, and it's a really cool plant. And now this mother plant has given me several different babies. I have given away some. I have a couple, so I'm going to show you what I got. So this one is my smaller one, and I have this one growing in leca, you can see. And look at those roots. And it's growing great. I've had it in leca for about a month now, and it's like really happy. And then I have my bigger one. This is growing in soil. I've had this in soil for a few months, and the leaves are just getting bigger and bigger. So you can see the soil that I have it in. And this one's really happy as well. So I'll talk about this one since it's more manageable than that one. So as far as care for this plant, these two are outside in my patio. So they get bright light under shade, no direct sunlight, but bright and direct light. This one, my big one back here, gets super bright light all day. It's facing the biggest south facing window that I have in my house. And it gets really like hot, bright light all day. No direct sunlight though. And they're all growing really fast, and they're all really happy. As far as humidity goes, I think that this one is less finicky when it comes to other alocasias about humidity. Inside of my house, it usually ranges from like 40 to 60% humidity. And outside, it ranges from 60 to like 100% humidity, depending on the day. But I mean, this one, I've had no problems with humidity with the one that I keep inside my house. So I think they're less finicky when it comes to humidity. Watering, I keep this plant a little bit more moist than my other plants. I usually water when I stick my finger in the soil, and if it's slightly moist all the way down, then I water. So I end up watering these smaller ones once every like 4 days. And the big one back here, I water about once a week, depending on, if it's been really cloudy outside or if it's been really sunny. Now that it is summer, I've been watering my plants more often, and it's been drying out faster. So you just have to adjust accordingly. So light, water, humidity, soil, I have it in a very fast draining soil. This big one and this one are in a very fast draining soil. You can see it's like mostly bark and charcoal and perlite. And this one is actually in the nursery pot that I bought it in about a year ago. So it actually really, really needs to be repotted, and I'm going to get around to it eventually, but yeah, it needs to be repotted really bad. Oh, and then this one I have in leca. So I did this as kind of like an experiment, and it's been working out really well. It's really happy. I think a lot of alocasias are happy in leca and passive hydro. Bugs, let's talk about bugs, because alocasias get a bad rap for catching spider mites. So they attract spider mites like magnets. So this big plant, I am constantly fighting with spider mites. And I love alocasias, so it's worth it for me, but you really just have to be vigilant with him. So I check this plant for spider mites like once every few days. I make sure to look closely at the leaves to see if I see any white or black tiny bugs or webbing. Sometimes I'll go around with a mister bottle and I'll spray them, and you can kind of see like when spider mites are there, you can see the webbing show up when you spray with water. So you kind of have to look often and treat fast before any damage occurs on the leaves. And if you want to know how I treat for spider mites, you can see on the highlight on my page. What is it called? Fighting bugs. It's called Fighting Bugs. You can go to the highlight on my page and you can see how I fight everything. It's not too bad though. I mean, it's worth it. They're so pretty. Fertilizing. So I fertilize all of my plants with Newt fertilizer. I can link it on the description to this video. But I like Newt because I put it in water and I water all of my plants with it every time I water my plants. So it takes out the guesswork of trying to keep track of when I last fertilized all of my plants and when they need to be fertilized again, because I don't have time for that. So I water all of them with Newt every time I water, and they're super happy and they're growing like crazy. So I do recommend getting a fertilizer like Newt or using Newt if you want to take the guesswork out of fertilizing. So yeah, I think I covered all that I wanted to cover about this plant, and I'm going to post in my stories the question option so you guys can ask me any questions you want to know about this plant in particular, and I'll answer them. Thanks for joining my Plant Talk Tuesday. I'll see you guys next week.